Little mistake there. Anyways, Kirk Fletcher here, just saying hello, checking in with everybody. A lot of things going on. I've been doing a fair amount of traveling. Glad that I can travel. Glad that I can just be out there playing my guitar and singing some songs about the blues and all of those good things, having a good time. A lot of things going on. I have a new record coming out on August 15th called Keep On Pushing on the Vizztone record label. And it's just my salute to traditional blues and all of the stuff that really inspired me by some of the people who hit me to some of these artists. And I've just done, a record, kind of collective record of all of these different things. And I'm really proud of it. And it's really my first step into, paying my respects to the music that moved me from the beginning. I've always kind of done that with my music, but especially now. I recorded in Nashville, in East Nashville, at my friend Joe McMahon's studio. And I had my friend JD Simo come out and help me, lend a helping hand to me while I was recording. And we had bass player Ron Oath on there, who's played with Levon Helm and the Kate brothers, and he was just incredible. It was just good to have him around. And he is one heck of a bass player. And we had Jason Schmay, who you've probably seen with McKinley James, and one young man that's really incredible, and his dad plays drums, and he can really play the drums. So I'm really happy about that, and I'm going to do some more touring before the end of the year, and I'm playing some different festivals in the U.S., and I'm really happy about that. And as far as guitar and things that I've kind of observed, because I've done a fair amount of teaching within the last, several months. And one topic that has always kind of like come back to me in being a musician, not just a guitar player, is reading the room. And I want to go into this more in future, guitar lesson and everything. But really, I kind of want to touch on that topic. I want to talk about reading the room. As a musician, it's often, you hear many musicians talk about listening and listening to the other musicians and seeing what's going on. Like for instance, I've said maybe in a previous video, if there's a musician or the groove is real staccato and really short, then maybe you might blend in with that, playing long, and doing the opposite of what everybody else is doing and adding contrast to whatever groove it is, or you might play, counterpoint or something like that. These are just the basic rules of playing with other people, And I really think that, reading the room as far as volume, as far as tasty and being of service to the music is very important, and it's really helped me out along my musical journey, just to listen, in a very serving the song kind of way, like if you're playing with a vocalist, if she's singing or he is singing, then maybe you need to find, the holes in between when he or she sings to kind of like add little feels or something like that. Or maybe it might just be a song where you're playing rhythm and you're just playing a simple A chord, that might just fit, but you really have to listen. And if you don't really have an idea of, which way to go, it's always good to listen to a lot of great music. And that can really kind of show you and teach you sort of what to look for, and really pick apart some of your favorite songs. Like when you listen to like maybe Dusty Springfield, Son of a Preacher Man, Bobby Bland, once again, Bobby Bland, my favorite record, Dreamer, and just listen at these different parts, and the way they kind of blend and orchestrate these different parts from each, instruments in the rhythm section, bass and drums, and rhythm guitar, and how they play together, and dynamics, and did they play counterpoint, or did they play harmonize a line, or whatever. But even before you go there, I mean, you could start off just listening to Muddy Waters and the great, I Just Want to Make Love to You, or the best of Muddy Waters, and just listen how Muddy Waters, and Jimmy Rogers played together, along with, Vic Crawford and Elgin Evans, or whoever was in the rhythm section. Incredible. And Little Walter, how he played accompaniment on a lot of these things. And you really can't find that. Even people say, oh, it's just blues, and you're just kind of playing this one way. If you really listen at Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters, you'll hear a whole lot more going on than you might expect from just playing regular 12-bar blues. For me, that's a little funny for me to hear somebody say that, because I know how involved and how deep that early blues language is, and how you really have to kind of study that like you would any other kind of music, And to me, a lot of music is parts, different parts and different things. I really love how parts blend together, and really listening to the other player and just making the whole song just jump out in a way. I can't really say what another musician is going to do in the band, but I can be doing my part to try and make everything more cool. So, that's just a couple words that I want to share with you about my, philosophies on playing with another band, with a rhythm section, or playing, in a band, or my own music, or the way I write. What I think about, is parts. Think about parts and blending, and not playing too loud, or not just playing endless amounts of noodling or something like that for the kind of music that I like, So, I would like to say that, and definitely look out for me, and more things coming, under the new horizon. I'm really happy about, and I will share more with you very soon. Take care, everybody.